What's up everyone, WOT Ken here with another Xbox 360 WOT Tanks video. Today we're going to be discussing the Chinese tech tree. That's right guys, the Chinese tanks are out today, which I know all of you guys have been waiting for and are very excited about. But unfortunately, we're not going to be starting this tech tree quite yet. We're going to finish the Panzer E100 line. We're going to skip the E100 just for now, and then we're going to figure out what line we're going to be going down on the Chinese line. I would like to do a Chinese line first before we do the E100. I really want an E100. I've been wanting one for a while, but we are going to actually go over, one of the Chinese tanks and stuff like that. So, anyways, as you can see here, this is the tier 1 that you all should have, the NC31. And of course, I have all my premium tanks, which have been unlocked in the tech tree. You can actually buy them now. If you guys weren't able to buy them when the premium tanks first came out for the Chinese tanks, you can buy them now. They're going to be in the tech tree. So anyways, let's head over to the tech tree and start looking at some of these tanks and then deciding maybe what line we might want to go down when we finish the Panzer E100. Alright guys, now we're looking at the Chinese tech line, which is pretty neat. We're going to scroll over to the right a little bit before we start discussing these tanks. And as you can see, it gets kind of weird. It separates a little bit here and there, and then it comes back. And you can get up to one medium tier 10 and one heavy tier 10. So there are two lines that you can technically, there's three lines. Like I said, it goes a little crazy, but eventually it does go back to two lines that you can finish off, a medium and a heavy tier 10. So, but anyways, without further ado, let's start discussing these tanks. Now, we're not going to be discussing the first couple of tanks. We're going to be discussing probably where we're going to be starting at when we start recording, and that's going to be the Type T-34. So if we look at this thing, we can see it's just a medium tank, which is nice. I don't mind that one bit. Unfortunately, we can't really look at the tank to get a better understanding what the armor looks like and stuff like that, but it looks like a T-34. That's it. A Russian T-34. Remember, a lot of the Chinese tanks are going to be pretty much resembling a lot of Russian tanks because, they did get a lot of their tanks from there and changed, just some things out and stuff like that. So, anyways, 410 hit points on this thing, which is not the most amazing, but it's a tier 5. It's been a while since I've really screwed with tier 5s in that sense. The whole armor is 45 in the front, 45 on the side, 40 on the rear. 52 on the front on the turret armor, 52 on the side, 45 on the rear. Now let's get a more in-depth look on this. We're going to just look at the final packages. We're not going to go over all the packages and stuff like that. The final package on this thing, let's see, the turret armor is 52, 52, 45. We get a 57 millimeter on this thing, 26 rounds, so you're going to be shooting fast. Penetration is 112, so you should be able to pen everything all the way up to the tier 7s that you should, that you're probably going to be seeing in battle. Hopefully you stick with just tier 5s and tier 6. 112, like I said, in penetration, 85 in damage, so you definitely need those fast reloading rounds because you're only doing 85 damage per shot. 2.29 in aiming time and 0.34 in accuracy. So the accuracy is decent, but that aim time might be the thing that's going to kill us. So I'm suggesting, from my understanding, most of these medium tanks on this whole entire line, you're going to need a gun rammer. You're going to need a gun rammer. Well, not on this tank, but on the other ones, when you get higher up, the reload's a little slow, from my understanding. So we're going to need a gun rammer and a gun laying drive. On this tank, I wouldn't put one on just because of how low of a tier it is. But if I did put one on, yeah, I would do a gun laying drive because that would help with the aim time on this tank. So, unfortunately, that is the crappy part of this tank, it looks like. Unfortunately, we can't test drive these. I wish we could. I really do. Alrighty, so we're going to start with the top and then work down on every single row just like that. So, the next tier 6 that we could possibly go to if we wanted to is the 5916. That's the tier 6 Chinese light tank. Let's go ahead and take a look at that. 530 in hit points. 30 on the whole armor in the front, 20 on the side, 20 on the rear, 45 on the front of the turret armor, 30 on the side, and 20 on the rear. So, once again, not a lot of armor on this thing. But look, if you look at the picture, though, it doesn't look bad. Really doesn't. It looks like it's got a really nice rounded turret, kind of like some of the tier 9s and tier 10s of the Russian mediums and stuff. So maybe that might actually bounce some stuff. Get a good hold down position. I'm not sure. It'd be interesting to see how that tank works in that sense. Getting a better in-depth look. It looks like we have two guns at the end, 76 and a 57. So I'm guessing, the 76 will probably be better. I'm pretty sure of that. 112 and 85. 85 and 150. Okay, so that's why I wanted to check on these. So we're going to look at the 76er real quick. It shoots 18 rounds a minute, penetration is 85, and the damage is 115. Okay, so right there just tells me this thing is probably going to bounce some shit. It does do some decent damage, but the penetration is what I'm worried about. The aim time is 2.29 and the accuracy is 0.36. Once again, those aim times, guys. Aim times. So gun laying drives. Gun laying drives. Alright, so let's look at the 57 and see if we might want to do that. Now, this does 21 rounds a minute. This does 112 penetration and 85 damage. The aim time, once again, is 2.29 gun laying drives. Jesus Christ. Looks like we're not going to catch a break on this thing. 0.34 in accuracy. To be honest with you, I'm probably going to unlock both just so I can have this tank an elite status. So, but to be honest with you, I'm thinking that 57 is the way to go. Now, a lot of people do like having more damage than penetration, but me, I like having more penetration than damage because I want to make sure that I can actually hurt them. There's no reason to, shoot at somebody with a most powerful damage gun when you can't even penetrate them. Yeah, that would suck. So I'll probably go with the 57 just so I can have that penetration. It does shoot 21 rounds a minute. Looks like we should be okay with using that gun. Now moving down to the Type 58. Oops, hit the wrong button. 720 hit points, so a little bit better than that light tank we were looking at. Let's see, the whole armor pretty much it looks kind of the same as the other one. 45 in the front, 45 on the side, 45 on the rear. 90 on the front on the turret, 75 on the sides, and 52 on the rear. So there you go. Might be the better way to go is, at least armor-wise, is with the Type 58, having that hold down position. Now, as you could look on this turret, just in the corner a little bit, it doesn't look like the most amazing turrets, like in the sense of its shape. Might be easy to penetrate in the front, unlike the light tank that we were looking at. So, that might, I don't know, the turret might change once we get the last package or something. We're going to look at that right now. Let's see, does the turret change? Yes, it does. Eventually, it does change. So, these both have the same gun. Okay, so we can just look at this one. Alright, so this one will actually give you a bigger engine if we look at this. So we'll be able to top out with this thing. Rate of fire with the 85mm is 12 rounds a minute. 128 penetration, 160 in damage. So, yeah. A little bit better penetration and damage than the light tank. Aim time, 2.29. Same aim time, I believe, and 0.37 in accuracy. So a little bit shittier accuracy. I believe the other ones were 0.34. But look at this, though. I mean, you're getting good penetration and good damage. 12 rounds. Not bad at all. And also, look at the turret armor, 90, 75, 52, which, what was the original? 90, 75, 52. So why is it saying it's getting a better turret? It might just be the design will probably be better. Probably that's what it is. Alright, let's move on to the tier 7s. We have a light tank, tier 7, WZ131. Now, a lot of people have been talking about getting these tanks. Just so you guys understand, I've never run the Chinese tanks at all. I've only seen my buddies play them. They like them. So, we'll see how this goes. Alrighty, so looking at the WZ132 tier 7 light tank for the Chinese. The whole armor on the front of this thing is 35 on the front, 20 on the side, 20 on the rear, 800 hit points. 45 on the front of the turret, 30 on the side, and 20 on the rear. So, once again, we're not getting any armor with this thing, but if you look at the picture at the top left corner, it does look like it's very well designed in the sense of its shape. It does have some really good slants on the front plate, the upper plate right there, and it does look like the turret doesn't look bad either. All right, let's get a little bit more in-depth look. It does look like you get a better turret on thing, also with a better gun. Holy crap, look at all these packages, and they're expensive. Look at this shit. Now, they might go down as we unlock them, but Jesus Christ, still pretty expensive. Look at this last package. 181 in penetration, 250 in damage, 6 rounds. Pretty much 7 rounds in a minute, not bad. 290 in aim time, so the aim time went up, which sucks. Gun laying drives again. Accuracy even goes down, is even shittier. I believe the other one was 0.34. This one's 0.38. So, not... Yeah. I don't know. Good penetration and damage. But look at that aim time and accuracy. That's going to take forever to fucking get aimed in. Really is. Let's look at the tier 7 medium, the T34-1. So just looking at this thing real quick, 916 hit points. 60 in the front of the whole armor, 45 on the side, 40 on the rear. 90 in the front of the turret, 75 on the side, and 52 on the rear. So once again, we're going to have probably that hold down position, but as we look at the turret on this tank, it's not very well shaped. Once again, I don't know why the light tanks get the awesome turrets in the sense of the way they look, the way they're designed. This just does not look that amazing. So I'm kind of iffy about this. Really am. So it looks like you could just buy this tank and just go straight to the other tank. So if some of you guys that want to just get through this tank really quickly, you might be able to do it. Let's look at the gun on this thing. Let's see. The gun stock is going to be, because this is the same gun, that's why I just switched up, just so I can get a better understanding of it. 12 rounds in a minute, 120 penetration, 160 in damage. You're going to be facing possibly tier 9s with this thing, so, yeah, might not be able to penetrate them. 2.90 in aim time, which is going to suck. That's almost 3 seconds just to aim in. Accuracy is 0.37, pretty much the same. Good penetration and decent damage just for going against tier 6, tier 7s, you know, tier 8s maybe. But those tier 9s, you're going to just be, yeah, you're going to be struggling. All right, looking at the last package on this thing. The turret armor does go up, though, so we might get a better turret on this thing. 170 on the front of that thing, 120 on the side, and 60 on the rear. So this might be the better way to go, the medium route on this on the Chinese line. Let's see, 6.45 rounds, so almost 7 rounds in a minute. 2.90 on the aiming. It looks like the aim time and the rounds pretty much stay the same from the last gun, but the accuracy does go up a little bit in the shitty way. 0.41, which is not good. This means that this gun's going to be shooting all over the place. I'm just not excited about that. 175 in penetration, 250 in damage. And what did this do again? 128 and 160. Jesus Christ. I don't know. But we do get one more selection also. We do get a tier 7 heavy line. This is where the tier 7 heavy line starts. Pretty decent. IS-2. So we're going to be using the IS series. Nice. This might actually be pretty interesting. 1,230 in hit points. So it kind of reminds me of a, does it say in the description? Because I was going to say possibly an IS-6 premium tank. A little mixture in that. Yeah, maybe. So the whole armor, 90 on the front, 90 on the sides, and 60 on the rear. So pretty much, yeah, not going to rely on that whole armor. Because you could look at the design on it. It's just, I mean, it's angled, but who knows how well that's going to bounce things. 100 on the front of the turret, 90 on the side, 90 on the rear. So, yeah. Let's look at this bad boy. Now, we do have a couple of different guns to go to, but I'm pretty sure, yeah, this is probably going to be the best. Yeah. Definitely going to be the best. Alrighty, let's look at this thing real quick. Now, remember, all this stuff that I'm talking about is subject to change. You know, the hit points will probably go up on most of these tanks once they get the last upgrade on there. And, you know, of course, like the gun and the turret's going to be shaped differently. So, we're only judging what we can look at the moment. Now, let's look at this big gun on here, the 122. Almost 5 rounds in a minute, 175 in penetration, 390 in damage. So, yeah, it's pretty much like the IS-6. 3.40 in aim time. Shit aim time. Jesus Christ. Accuracy, 4.46. Turret armor is 190 and 90. And what did we say the original armor on this thing for the turret is? 190, 90. So, yeah. Yeah. We're sticking with the same. It might just be, it might look just a little different. Alrighty, so let's look at the WZ-132 Tier 8 Chinese light tank. Look at that thing. 915 hit points. Whole armor, of course, shit, 50, 25, 20. Turret armor, 48, 35, 20. Not impressed with me. But then again, remember guys, this is a light tank. But me personally, I like having more armor than nothing at all. Let's see, we got 100 and an 85. It's saying the 100 is the better version. So we're going to look at that. 7 rounds in a minute. 189 penetration, not bad. This thing could probably see up to tier 3's head. So if it's a tier 8, of course it's going to see up to tier 10s. So 189 penetration, not exciting for those tier 10s. 215 damage. Yeah. 2.29 in aim time. It looks like it's dropping back. So not bad. And accuracy is 0.36. So I'm not minding that. What is the speed for this thing? What was it saying the speed was? Turret traverse speed. Wow, 48 degrees a second. That's pretty good. All right, top speed is 64 kilometers per hour, which is not bad. So pretty much you just scoot along and shoot at people. View range is 390. So probably once you get the last upgrade, your view range will be 400. Yeah, like I thought. So possibly 410, something like that when you get, you know, the binos and everything else on there. So let's look at the medium tier 8, the T-34-2. 1,200 hit points on this tank. 70 on the front of the hull, 45 on the sides, and 45 on the rear. 170 on the front of the turret. There we go. That's what we're talking about. 120 on the sides and 60 on the rear. Now, of course, you know, most tier 9s and 10s are going to be able to penetrate that. But still, that's a good sign that we might actually get a nicer turret. Now, the speed on this thing also 50 kilometers per hour. I know we haven't been looking at the speed, but I really don't care about the speeds on the other ones until I start getting to like these tiers, tier 8s and stuff like that. Looking at the packages, looks like we have a couple different packages we could choose from. That it says either one will do. So let's look at the 100 and then we'll go to the 122. 7 rounds in a minute. 181 in penetration. Damage is 250. Not bad. 2.90 in aim time, 0.38 in accuracy. Accuracy, you know, I think it's come down a little bit, I think, maybe. Aim time, 2.90, not bad at all. Turret armor, 180 on the front, 120 on the side, and 60 on the rear. So depending on how this is shaped, it might actually bounce some shit. Looking at the 122 gun now, 4 rounds a minute, which is not surprising. Usually the 122s get really crapped on. 175 in penetration, 390 in damage. So, of course, the 100's going to do a little bit better in penetration. Aim time on this thing is 3.40. Accuracy is 0.47. So, of course, the 100 has better accuracy and aim time. So, it might be better if we use the 100 on this line. I'm not sure. Yeah, I probably would go with the 100, to be honest with you. Just because we shoot more rounds, does 250 damage. We could probably make up for those 4 rounds that we would do with the 122. And that's if the 122 even penetrated anything. Alright, let's look at the tier 8 heavy 1110. Or 110. Not 1110. That just makes it 1,010. 1,110. Anyways, enough about that. 1,415 hit points. Speed limit is 40 kilometers per hour. Not bad. 120 in the front, 90 on the side, 60 in the rear of the hull armor. And as we can see right there, if you guys notice, sorry about that. You can notice that it's getting that piked nose, kind of like the IS-3. I have faced this tank against my IS-3. Me and my buddy did a practice mode in the PC game. He was kicking my ass with it. He was bouncing some good shots. And he was nailing me. Turret armor. 130 on the front, 90 on the side, and 90 on the rear. Looking at this tank inside and looking at all the fun packages, which we know the turret's going to go up on this thing. 201 on the turret armor. Not bad, not bad. I think that's just under the IS-3's turret. I know the IS-3 has a ridiculous amount of armor on the front of its turret. Now, look at the penetration, though. We do get 100 millimeters on this thing. 215, definitely a lot better penetration than the IS-3. The IS-3 is kind of like the medium tank with 175 penetration, I believe, without looking at it. But look at this, 215 penetration, 6 rounds in a minute, 320 in damage. That's something to look forward to. This is why one of my buddies really liked this tank. Because of the penetration and the damage, but also look at the aim time, 2.90. It's still keeping it way down. Accuracy is 0.37. This might be the line to go down. I really wanted to do the medium line, but this heavy line might be the way to go. Alright, so now we're getting near the end here. This is where everything starts combining back together again. We've just got a single line on the mediums and on the heavy. So no more light tanks, unfortunately. Sorry, guys. For all you light tankers that are like, we wish we had a tier 10. I know, guys. Hit points on the medium tier 9. The WZ-120 is 1,550. Not bad. Whole armor, 100 on the front, 80 on the side, 45 on the rear. The turret armor, though, 200 on the front, 130 on the side, and 60 on the rear. That sounds like some trolling armor just for stock. That sounds nasty. Let's look at it with the final upgrade. Alright, the final upgrade, we go to 220. So we add an extra 20 on the turret armor. 160 on the sides and 65 on the rear. 5 rounds in a minute with the 122. 249 penetration and 440 on damage. 3.40 in aim time. So the aim time went back up. So we're going to have some shit aim time, I believe. I believe it went back up. Accuracy is 0.37. Not terrible, but not the greatest. But 249 penetration, 440 in damage, I can deal with that. Looking at the heavy tank, the WZ-11114. I guess that's how you say that. That's just the weirdest way to fucking sit there and, name a tank. Anyways, hit points on this thing, 1,750. Look at the way this thing is shaped. Definitely got some neat armor on this thing. The way that it has a weird piked nose kind of thing going on. Definitely kind of weird. 50 is the speed limit. What was the speed limit on this? I'm sorry, guys. 56. So, look at this, though. But a heavy tank that can go 50. It kind of reminds me of the French tanks, then. French tanks can go pretty fast. The French heavies. Whole armor, 120 on the front, 80 on the side, 60 on the rear. Kind of like what we expected because it's using the piked nose. They're trying to make sure that they don't have a lot of armor or a lot of weight on this tank, so that's why they use the pike nose so that they can bounce. They don't need as much armor on there. Now the turret armor, 249 on the front, just stocked, 172 on the side, 100 on the rear. Holy shit, 249. That's nasty. That's getting up there with the tank destroyers. Alrighty, let's see. We got a couple different routes to go. But, yeah, look at this. We get the 130 millimeter, which is the same as the, what is it, the IS-7? I think the IS-7 has the same one. Or the IS-4, can't remember. I think they might both have it. No, the IS-4 has the smaller one. The IS-7 has the bigger, like 130 or whatever, I think. I can't remember. Anyways, other than me talking about my ass, rate of fire on this thing for the 130 millimeter. Almost 5 rounds a minute, so I would just stick with 4.29. To be honest with you, I don't know if you can get it up to 5 rounds a minute. Penetration, 244 and 490. Not bad at all. 2.90 in accuracy, or aim time, and accuracy is 4.0. And then the turret armor goes up to 230. So not bad on that. Not bad. Definitely a good hold down tank. Don't know how the gun depression is, so I have to check on that. Finally, we're here at the tier 10. The 121 tier 10 medium Chinese tank. Looking at this thing, 1,950 hit points. So pretty much you can still get one-shotted by Death Star if they really wanted to get you. 120 in the front of the hull, 80 on the side, 60 on the rear. The speed on this thing is 56 kilometers per hour. 240 on the turret armor, though. Holy shit, that's great. 130 on the side, 60 on the rear. Alrighty, so looking at this thing completely, we're not going to get a good estimate on the damage. Shit. It's not going to tell me a good... Yeah, it's not going to give me any more info. I really want to have the info on how much this can do. Rate of fire is 6.25. We know that. Standard shell damage is anywhere between 330 and 550. This does have the 122 on it. So, standard shell penetration anywhere between 194 and 323. So, I would like to see what the standard penetration is. Usually, this is just like like what it can tell you your rolls can be. But I'm gonna say this, standard penetration for this thing is probably like 200 and something. That's what I would think. So, well, Jesus, man, I wish I can get more in depth. I'm sorry about that, guys, but unfortunately, we're very limited on what we can do when we look at these things. Alrighty, so the 113 Heavy, which is the tier 10 of the Chinese, not caring for the design of it. Looks like they backtracked on the piked nose and went back to like a normal tank. 2,300 hit points, so you're not going to get one-shotted, which is nice. Speed limit is still pretty good, 50. 120 on the armor on the front of the hull, 90 on the side, 70 on the rear. Not exciting sounding at all. But the turret armor sounds good. 240 on the front, 160 on the side, 80 on the rear. So I'm guessing hold down tank. Just get behind a rock, let your turret show up, and that's it. Looks like that's probably going to be the best bet with this thing. Once again, we do not know how much penetration we can do or damage. It says anything between 330 and 550 on damage, but I hate when I can't look at it even better. I like looking at the standard, what they normally say, like, you'll do 400 damage, 450, something like that, and then, of course, your roll of dice will let you go either lower or higher than that. Penetration, 187 to 311. Rate of fire, 5.5. That's not bad for the gun that it has on it. I believe it has the 130 on it, so not bad at all. I don't think there's any other way for me to look at this differently. No, because I don't have those tanks. Alright, guys, so we've looked at all the tanks on here. I don't know which line I'm going to go down yet. I'm going to start looking at these a little bit more once again. Once I get to the tier 5, I'm going to take a few minutes and just look at which tanks I want to go down. They all have their pros and cons. They all have their pros and cons, and I don't know. I'm just going to have to try to look at the stats and then just try to figure out what I want to do, talk to some other people, and see what they have to say about the tanks and stuff like that. It's just like what you guys do on YouTube. When you guys ask me, what's, the best tank I should go down, or what's the best tank of all and stuff like that, really, to be honest with you, it comes down to player skill. But also, if you're looking for a new tank line to go down, I couldn't tell you what would be best for you, to be honest with you, because I don't know how you play. You guys know how I play. You guys know the tanks I like, my heavies, my TDs, stuff like that. Even starting to like my mediums now and stuff. You know how I play. So when I tell you, you know what, I think the 5916 is the better choice than the Type 58, because the Type 58 was a huge letdown. You guys know I've had experience with medium tanks in the past, and you know how I play those medium tanks. And if that kind of, goes with your way of playing, if your play style is kind of like mine, then you might want to take my advice and go that way. In that sense, there's only so much I can do. As a YouTuber, that's why when we do things like this, World of Tanks, World of Warships, anything like that, I suggest you guys go and checking out like Cosmic Carry. Also going and checking out Ronin and stuff like that. We all play differently. We play well together, but that's just because we play differently. We all have our pros and our cons, and we, work well because of that. So, if you watch me do a video on the Type T34, and you watch Ronin do one, and then you watch Cosmic do one, you get all three standpoints. Now, I know I'm sitting here and telling you guys to go watch other YouTubers, which I'm happily fine with, and I know I'm telling you guys to watch multiple videos, which sometimes sucks having to do. That's why I try to put up there like the skip button for you guys to go straight to battle. So you could just see how the tank plays and stuff like that. Because some of the stuff I look up, you can look up on the stats and stuff. But I like to talk about it a little bit more in depthly on what I feel about those stats. Kind of like what we did today. But when you get different point of views and different play styles, you guys know how we all play. And you can kind of mix that together and be like, you know what? All of them are pretty much saying the Type 58 is a shitty tank, and the 5916 is the better way to go. You know, or vice versa. You know, I'm not saying that now because I don't know how this tank plays or this tank plays. But you get my drift. Pretty much, watch multiple YouTubers. Don't just stick with one. Watch multiple ones. Get different impressions on them. You know, and we all play differently. We don't all play the same. You know, Bubba plays artillery amazingly, but you know he doesn't do the greatest sometimes with his heavy tanks. You know, where I succeed in there. And if I could have Bubba do a YouTube channel, you know, you guys would be experts at freaking artillery because of him. Just like Rush Dodge does for you guys. Anyways, enough about this, guys. Thank you so much for coming out. I know this is pretty decently long video. I don't even know how long it's been. Holy shit, 32 minutes of freaking talking. I'm sorry about that. I really am. But there's the Chinese light tanks, or Chinese tanks line for you. God, I just can't speak today. I hate the mornings. I have so much like build up from like allergies and stuff that it just fucks me over. I hate it. I take meds for it. Yeah, it doesn't help. Doesn't help. It's like I just get fucked over on it. Anyways, I'm done talking because this is a very long video, and I'm sorry about that. But it had to be done. It had to be done. Like I said, we're going to finish the Yog Pantry 100 line first. While I'm on vacation, I will be building up a lot of experience points and stuff like that so that when we jump on this line, we're going to be good to go. We're going to be ready to go. I will start on this line, though. I'm going to be doing Tier 1 to up to the Tier 5, but I'm going to stop probably at the Tier 4. Maybe stop at the Tier 5. I don't know. I haven't thought about it yet, where we're going to be starting the series at. But we're going to be starting somewhere in there. So, but I will be working on that on my vacation time. I just won't be spending any free XP on these tanks. I will be actually grinding these out to the Tier 5 and stuff, which won't take me long. Maybe a day or two, to be honest with you. Some of you guys are probably thinking, holy crap, it only takes you a day or two to get up to Tier 5. Yeah, it's not going to take me long. It really is not going to take me long to do it at all. So, anyways, guys, I'm Wizard Ken. Thank you so much for watching the video. Hit the like button. Until next time, see ya.